Rita, thank you. Good evening and welcome to Monday's Look North. Our top story tonight. Tributes to pay to a family following a fatal collision between Wakefield and Barnsley in which 6 people died.
Devastating, just like, it's like I say, it's close, so whatever happens around here, basically, everybody gets to find out straight away. I think a lot of people knew what had happened before, but like, it's a horrible time, innit, for everybody.
The fundraising campaign for a surviving family member has now reached over £70,000. Also tonight, a man appears in court accused of setting a bus on fire during last week's violence in Leeds. Why 2 West Yorkshire councils have decided to give drivers a break when it comes to parking charges.
And we'll be finding out how beautiful tropical butterflies like these can thrive in a habitat here in South Yorkshire.
And despite the fact there was a lot of cloud today, we did see some blue sky there near Huddersfield. Finally, tyres looking very nice. But what about the week ahead? Join me for the detailed forecast.
Hello, thanks for your company tonight. We start with the family tragedy that has left relatives and the community heartbroken. 6 people died when a car and motorbike collided between Barnsley and Wakefield yesterday. 9-year-old Ruby Morgan-Roller and 4-year-old Lily Morgan-Roller from Barnsley were killed, along with their parents Shannon Morgan and Shane Roller. A man and a woman on the motorbike also died. Our correspondent Spencer Stokes is at the scene for us now. Spencer.
Yes, this is the A61, the main road between Barnsley and Wakefield. We're close to Staincross on the edge of Barnsley, and the road still remains closed tonight, more than 24 hours on from that tragic accident that led to the deaths of 6 people. Now, all day today, floral tributes have been brought to this site here. People have been bringing those flowers, also some balloons and cards as well, as the full impact of what happened yesterday afternoon has sunk in this community. Shannon Morgan, her partner Shane Roller, and their 2 children, Lily and Ruby, killed in a devastating car crash yesterday afternoon. The collision involved a Ford Focus that the family were travelling in and a motorbike being ridden by a man and a woman who also died. It happened just north of Staincross on the A61 between Barnsley and Wakefield at 5 to 4 on Sunday. The road has remained closed whilst investigations are carried out. Floral tributes being brought to the scene throughout the day. This afternoon, police provided more details.
This is obviously a tragic incident with a devastating loss of life. Specialist police officers are supporting the family of the deceased, and I would ask that their privacy be respected at this time. My hearts go out to the family and loved ones who have lost people in this incident. This is a truly horrendous collision, which are currently in the early stages of investigating.
Amongst those arriving with flowers, a friend of Shane's from nearby Athersley in Barnsley.
Just a normal lad, gets on with day-to-day life, a working lad. You're a nice kid, very nice kid. Always smiling, cheerful, and loved his family. It's devastating what's happened.
Shane Roller worked at Press Glass in Barnsley, where his production manager today said he always found Shane to be a really lovely lad. Nothing was ever a problem, and he always had a smile on his face. Meanwhile, a GoFundMe page that was set up last night has already raised more than £70,000. A wider community in Barnsley has been devastated by an horrendous road crash that took the lives of 6 people, including 2 children from one family. Yes, that holiday picture there of the 2 girls killed in the accident, Ruby and Lily. They went to the very nearby Athersley North Primary School, just a mile or so from where we are now. And within the last couple of hours, the head teacher there has put out a statement referencing both children. Ruby, she says, was a kind, happy and caring child with a lovely personality, a fantastic role model, someone who wanted to be a teacher. Lily, she says, was bright and bubbly, creative and very determined. And the head teacher at Athersley says the girls were a credit to their parents, who will also be greatly missed. Many tributes on social media today from friends and family of the couple who died. Let's take one from Callum Roller, Shane's brother. He says that he's absolutely heartbroken, and this has absolutely broken both sides of the family. Politicians, local councillors paying tribute as well. The Barnsley North MP Dan Jarvis posting on X this morning, "My heartfelt condolences go out to family and friends of those who have lost their lives." The road remains closed here this evening, and police appealing for dashcam footage from anyone who was in the area in the moments before the crash yesterday.
OK, Spencer, live in Barnsley, thank you very much. And of course, our thoughts are with the family of all those involved. Next tonight, a man's appeared in court charged in connection with serious disturbances in Leeds last week. 37-year-old Justin Dobre is accused of arson and violent disorder after a bus was set alight in Hare Hills on Thursday. Meanwhile, community leaders held further talks with the police over the weekend. Our social affairs correspondent Emma Glasby is in Hare Hills now. Emma, what is the situation like in the area tonight?
Well, Phil, today in Hare Hills, as you can probably see behind me, the area really is returning to normal. Families have been out and about enjoying the start of the summer holidays. In fact, we've been watching some of the children playing table tennis on the table set up here outside the Compton Centre. People have been doing their shopping, going about their business. We are now 4 days on from those really disturbing scenes on the streets in Hare Hills here, where a police car was overturned, missiles were thrown at police, and a bus was set on fire as violent disorder broke out on the streets. Now that followed the removal of children from a family home here by social workers and police as a crowd gathered outside the house. Now, there were a number of people and local councillors out on the streets on Thursday here in Hare Hills trying to stop the violence. They were putting out fires, they were talking to people, urging them to go home. One of those was Councillor Salma Arif, and I spoke to her here outside the Compton Centre a little earlier this evening.
In terms of the community, I think everybody seems to be coming together because they don't want to repeat of what happened on Thursday. I'm not certainly picking up on any tensions, quite the opposite actually. A lot of people have really wonderfully come out to say actually this isn't Hare Hills, this is what we're about. Lots of positive things. I mean, we've been out on the weekend sort of playing football. There's a lot of police presence, as you can see. We're just passing the ball with the officers and little kids, and just, you know, it's just normal really. The high street's really busy, as you can see. Businesses are back to normal.
Where are we with the police investigation at the moment?
Well, today a man has appeared in court charged with violent disorder and arson, reckless as to endanger life. 37-year-old Justin Dobre, a Romanian national, is accused of setting a bus on fire during that disorder. Leeds Magistrates Court heard today that he will deny those charges. He has now been remanded into custody and he is due back before Leeds Crown Court in August. Now, there have been other arrests since that disorder on Thursday. We understand there have been 15 arrests, and West Yorkshire Police has said there will continue to be an increased police presence here over the coming days.
OK, Emma, live in Hare Hills, thank you very much. Emma Glasby there. Now to claims of intimidation during the general election campaign in Yorkshire. Labour's candidate for Dewsbury and Batley has told us she faced constant abuse and harassment as she tried to speak to voters. The winning independent MP has told us it was nothing to do with him or his team. Here's our political reporter, Gemma Dillon.
It's a political issue that's caused division for months. And in the run-up to the election, political parties' stance on the conflict in Gaza, despite being thousands of miles away, was played out on the campaign trail in West Yorkshire.
Having a campaign van with Iqbal Mohammed's face following me around while I was door knocking, screaming genocide agent and that, you know, child murder at me was really awful.
Heather Iqbal was Labour's candidate in Dewsbury and Batley and says the Gaza conflict became a lightning rod for the community's anger.
I think that the Muslim community in Dewsbury and Batley does feel very strongly about Gaza. But I also think that the conflict is a bit of a touch paper for a lot of other issues which have played out over the years, largely like the impact on the community of deprivation, of declining public services.
It didn't feel as safe on the streets, if you like.
Jackie Ramsey was her agent and reported some of the abuse to the police, who've told us that while some of the language, although deemed potentially unpleasant by some, are not considered grossly offensive and therefore don't meet the required threshold for a criminal prosecution. She says something needs to change.
If they've not been able to take it further, the police, and you know they've said to myself that they can't take it further because it's not against the law. Some of the things that we've been called and the fact that we were followed, there isn't the evidence that we're followed by one particular person all the time because. So I understand that they're in a situation where they feel they can't do anything, but yeah, it is wrong, and I do think something needs to change there.
Iqbal Mohammed is now the MP for the area and says he was aware of the white van during the campaign and condemns the behaviour of those involved.
Violence, threats, intimidation and abuse. It's absolutely not acceptable in an election campaign, in Parliament or in society in general. So whoever engages in that is nothing to do with me.
It is something the new government are taking very seriously. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, will chair a meeting of MPs next week to look at improving safety for politicians, saying the disgraceful scenes we saw at this general election must not be repeated. Gemma Dillon, BBC Look North.
Network Rail has released CCTV footage to urge people to stay off the railways across our region this summer. Just take a look at this. This footage shows people jumping onto tracks at Bramley Station in West Yorkshire and then struggling to get back onto the platform afterwards. New figures show across Yorkshire, Lincolnshire and the North East there were more than 2,600 incidents of trespassing on the railways last year. Two councils in West Yorkshire have decided against introducing parking charges near to shops in order to support local businesses. People in Leeds will soon have to pay to park in local parks, but the council has stopped short of charging drivers in one suburb. Meanwhile, plans for new charges across Kirklees towns and villages have been put on hold, as Beth Parsons now reports.
Drivers planning to park at 5 beauty spots in Leeds will soon have to pay. But the council has decided to stop short of charging in other areas. This is the Oakwood Clock car park. Leeds City Council say that because it serves local shops and businesses, parking here will remain free and will be limited to a maximum of 2 hours. Natalie's dog shop Woof has been here for 3 years and she says it could benefit her business.
For me, that is great that they're not going to charge first and foremost, because if they had done that, it would have absolutely crucified the businesses down here on the parade. The 2 hour sort of time limit on it, it actually frees up space for people to park, to actually come and use the facilities on the parade.
But that's not provided relief for everyone. It could still cost £4 a day to park at some of Leeds' green spaces if plans go ahead. Leeds City Council say the extra income will help maintain the parks, as well as encouraging people to walk, car share or use public transport.
Whilst Leeds Council are continuing with their plans to bring parking charges in Kirklees there's been a U-turn. There were plans to start charging people around £6.50 a day to park somewhere like this in Cleckheaton. But after public criticism and thousands of signatures on petitions, that idea is most definitely on the way out.
Yay! That was the best news for the town.
A petition here in Cleckheaton, combined with another from the Home Valley, resulted in more than 10,000 signatures against similar changes. Last week it was debated at a Kirklees Council meeting, and for now, car park charges have been put on hold.
Everybody now knows that they can go on as they are doing and thrive as a town
Absolutely delighted, because it has been a huge worry, not just for us as business owners in the town, but for the whole town. Customers and businesses alike, we've all been worried about parking charges.
We've talked to a few customers and they've said it's really good, because I don't think people believed it would happen, so I think they're really pleased it has happened.
Official final decisions are still yet to be made, and Kirklees Council still needs to make savings to protect vital services. That money will still have to be found elsewhere. Beth Parsons, BBC Look North.
Thanks, Beth. Much relief all round. Well, for now, at least. OK, let's turn to the sport now. And, of course, getting ready for the big one on Friday night, Sal?
Yeah, it's the Olympics. We've only got 4 days to go and I absolutely love the Olympics. So this is right up my street. So let's start there. 4 days to go, as I say, and Leah Crisp from Wakefield is making her Olympic debut. The former City of Leeds star swimmer switched to long-distance open water swimming just 2 years ago and is Team GB's only female marathon swimmer. Paul Ogden reports.
When I had lessons when I was learning to swim, my teacher was ill one day and we had a substitute, and it was the substitute teacher who said to my parents, your child's really talented, you should look at joining a club. So it's kind of in that moment we kind of knew, I maybe had a special gift for it and to give it a go.
And what a job now 22-year-old Leah Crisp has made of it as she prepares to represent Great Britain at the Olympics in Paris. Growing up in Wakefield, Leah competed for the City of Leeds club and was already winning national titles in the pool as a young teenager. Leaving Yorkshire at 18 to study opened up new channels to her. Swimming at Bath University happens to be at British Swimming's High Performance Centre.
I remember being quite nervous when I first joined, because obviously coming from a club, when you leave you're kind of like the big fish in the club, and then you then become the small fish. And it was quite daunting kind of joining in and seeing the people that you've looked up to, you're then training in the same lane as.
Crisp only dipped her toe back into open water racing 2 years ago for the first time since her junior days. In Paris, she'll be representing Great Britain at the Olympics in the 10-kilometre marathon.
There's a lot more going on around you. You have to think about where you're positioned in the pack. If there's a breakaway, bridging that gap, you have to kind of really be aware of what's happening to make sure you stay in the race.
Leah happened to be with her mum when her Olympic selection was confirmed.
I just looked down at my phone and I had a text message saying, it's confirmed, you're going to the Olympics. And then we both had a bit of a cry together, which it was really lovely, and I was really glad to be my mum in that moment. And it just felt like so many years of work for both me and my family had kind of just really fallen into place, and I'd achieved my dream.
Now, about that water specifically that Leah Crisp will be swimming in through the middle of Paris in early August. Until very recently, bacteria levels in the Seine were unacceptably high. But some careful water management and rigorous testing has shown it to be safe again. Last week, even the mayor of Paris herself took a plunge in front of the cameras to prove it.
We've had things such as typhoid shots and hepatitis jabs, to make sure we can, reduce any risk. We just need to really hope that everything works out and that the water quality is completely fine.
Well, there's no shortage of quality in this Yorkshire-produced swimmer who can't wait to dive into the Paris Olympics. Paul Ogden, BBC Look North.
Meanwhile, the Great Britain cycling team for the Paralympics has been announced today, and we have 3 athletes in the squad. First up is Kadina Cox. The 4-time Paralympic champion competed in cycling and athletics in Rio and Tokyo. This time around, though, she is injured, and her place on the athletics team is still in doubt.
I'll be good if I don't get selected. 1, because I love doing both, but 2, just because I basically risked it all to be able to do both, and I feel like I've fallen at the last hurdle, but everything happens for a reason. So yeah, if I don't get to go to this games for athletics, I shall be continuing on for another year. I've been saying I'm going to retire this year from athletics, but I'll probably keep going and hopefully do world next year.
You're not giving up yet, are you?
No, I'm still alive in this old gal.
Also selected for his third Paralympic Games is Steve Bates, who lives in Mytholmroyd, West Yorkshire. He competes in the tandem bike races for visually impaired athletes, this time with a new pilot. He's now partnered with Chris Latham, seen here powering to bronze at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. And his priority is to enjoy the Paralympics for what could be his final games.
This time around, I'm pretty keen to enjoy it. I haven't really enjoyed the last two. Obviously, the first one was pretty stressful in Rio, and then Tokyo, I had a hip injury, so that was pretty frustrating. Where this time, I'm going into it in pretty good shape and pretty good health. So, yeah, I just first and foremost, I just really want to enjoy the process.
And the Yorkshire lineup is completed by Ben Watson, who now lives in York. He won 2 golds in Tokyo in what was his Paralympic debut. And he only took up cycling when his disability meant he could no longer run.
When I was 15, I got a mountain, 15, 16, bought a mountain bike from a friend and sort of went from there. I didn't even think about parasport until I was like late 20s, like 27. One of my friends actually worked in British cycling after Rio. Obviously, watched it on TV, watched the Olympics and Paralympics in London and Rio. And then my friend was like, do you know what, why don't you come and try out for Paralympics GB, come and have a go. And yeah, all sort of spiraled from there, really.
Now, a family-run wildlife park in South Yorkshire is celebrating an industry award for its butterfly house. Just look at those beautiful images there. The tropical butterfly house in North Anston won gold for its new insect haven, which opened last year. Hannah Gray has been for a visit this evening.
It is a wonderfully warm temperature here in this tropical climate. I feel like I'm in South America. It's amazing. The plants smell beautiful. There's loads of stunning flowers. And the best part is we are surrounded by absolutely beautiful butterflies. And the work here on these plants and the design of this beautiful place has just been rewarded by a BIAZA Gold Award for Horticulture. The BIAZA organisation rewards conservation work. So let's find out a bit about that. This is the head gardener, Rachel. Thanks for joining me. How does it feel to have won a Gold Horticulture Award?
We are absolutely thrilled. There's such a lot of work gone into this, from the planning in 2020 right through to this building now that you see. So pleased. Massive team, massive effort. Really thrilled, yeah.
And there's lots of types of butterflies here. I'm told there are hundreds with 30 different types. Maddie is the assistant gardener. She's going to tell us about her favourite caterpillar and butterfly. Which one is it, Maddie?
This is the owl butterfly caterpillar, and we have many here, and they have a big spot on their wing which looks exactly like an owl eye. And that is how they evade predators, and they're really cool. They can be found in the rainforests of Mexico and Central and South America, and it's just really great to have them here.
Thanks so much, Maddie. Well, they are fascinating, and if you want to know more, they do daily talks here at the Tropical Butterfly House, and it's open longer hours for the summer holidays. Hannah Gray, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
OK, Hannah, thank you very much for that. Now, it's the start of the school holidays, so one thing Paul's just mentioned to me just now, we're already in the second half of summer.
I know, yes, I know, and I mean, the first half's been poor, hasn't it?
It's been a write-off.
Whatever happens for the rest of July, it's going to be a colder than average month, and June was as well. And, you know, we've had 18 months of above average months, so it's, you know, it's a bit disappointing to say the least.
I do detect a bit of a sea change, if you like, the last few days. Am I right?
Do you want to do my job?
Well, let's face it, I couldn't do a worse job, could I?
You're right, actually, because, you know, we have been looking at later in July for a pattern change. I mean, the jet stream, we've been on the wrong side of the jet stream for the whole of summer so far. That means it's been unsettled and it's been colder than average. But the jet stream's beginning to sort of shift. So what can I tell you about the rest of summer? Well, first, it's like known knowns and known unknowns. It's a bit of a complex picture.
Yeah.
August, I think, will easily be the warmest month of summer. There's a lot of evidence out there that it is going to be really quite a warm month. And again, I go back to, you know, you look at what's happening in Spain today. 44, 45 degrees. There's a big heat wave across North Africa and Spain, so we could tap into some of that air. I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be a big heat wave, but I'm saying it's going to be quite a lot warmer. I suspect it's going to be a lot drier as well, so it is looking fairly positive, you know, for probably the rest of July, but certainly late July into early August.
My favourite month of the summer is always September, which I know is autumn, but it settles down, doesn't it? Generally.
Well, sometimes, not always, but maybe that's a topic for another day. If you've got any questions you want to send to me, the address is on your screen. You've got a clever QR code there. If you point your phone to the screen, get your questions in, and I'll try and answer them on a Monday. Quickly, we've got a couple of weather pictures to show you. That was absolutely stunning. That's taken Saturday morning. That could be the Mediterranean, couldn't it? With a bit of what looks like Altocumulus castellanus there at around about 5:30 in the morning. The second picture was Filey this afternoon. The whole beach to yourself and a bit of blue sky. What's more to like? Let's have a look at the addresses if you want to get your pictures on the telly, on X, Instagram and on the Weather Watcher website. So tomorrow's headline, again, not too bad a day. Variable cloud, the odd shower. There will be some sunshine around at times. Wednesday looks a nice day, ridge of high pressure. This system is really complicated. It's going to end up splitting. So it may well be we get some patchy rain, but later in the day, before Friday settles down once more. So it is a bit changeable, but on the whole, it's not looking too bad. Now, there was a lot of cloud around, but it's melting away in quite a few areas this evening. So there should be some sunshine around. There's a risk of 1 or 2 showers both this evening and overnight, but I suspect by the end of the night, most of us will be dry. Just 1 or 2 showers left across the Pennines. Most of us dry. Temperatures around 12 or 13 degrees. Tomorrow's high water time, Scarborough 6:06, Bridlington at 6:27. As for tomorrow then, a dry, bright start. We'll see cloud filtering down from the north, developing a bit. You can see a hint of 1 or 2 showers. But again, the emphasis on a good deal of fine weather, and with a bit of a northerly breeze, it may well be coastal areas sees the best of the sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures close to normal at around 21 or 22 degrees. Wednesday looks a nice day. That's the forecast.
Yes. Thank you, Paul. You've cheered me. I feel more optimistic going into August.
That's my job.
Maybe you should come a bit more often and do that. Right. We've enjoyed it that much. Paul and I are coming back again at 10 o'clock for the late bulletin. But from all of us on the team, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.